Hello, back into the Jazz on 3 studio this week after our Manchester Jazz Festival spectacular last Friday. Hope you enjoyed that. I certainly had a lot of fun, and it was nice to bump into some of the Radio 3 Jazz message board crew down there. Got to say huge thanks to Steve, Mick and Carolyn at the Manchester Festival, and to Matt and Dean at Matt and Fred's Club for being such excellent hosts and making us feel welcome. And the festival is still running. Some great stuff tomorrow, actually, including Tim Richards and his band Great Spirit. Check out the programme at manchesterjazz.com. Well, if you were listening last week, you'll know that tonight I'm kicking off a month-long season of your favourite concerts from over the last year. I've been asking you to choose the gigs you'd most like to hear again. Well, the polls are closed, the votes have been counted, and the results are in front of me. So, coming up between now and the end of August, Kenny Wheeler's 75th birthday concert, Carla Bley and her band at the London Jazz Festival, and Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter and friends. But we start tonight with some blistering jazz rock from drummer Jack DeJohnette, guitarist John Scofield and organist Larry Goldings, celebrating Tony Williams. Now, hundreds of you asked for this one, including Richard Wilshire, Andrew Forster, George Moore and Neil Marshall. The title of tonight's concert is Celebrating Tony Williams, Tony, of course, being one of the most influential drummers in the history of jazz. But you may have guessed from the instrumentation that the gig was more specifically inspired by Williams' pioneering late 60s jazz rock trio Lifetime, which featured, alongside Tony, John McLaughlin on guitar and the great organist Larry Young. Well, in the interval, you can hear me talking to John Scofield about the origins of this project and the impact that Lifetime had on the jazz scene in the late 60s, so I'll keep my introduction at this stage quite brief. I'll just tell you that DeJohnette, Scofield and Goldings do revisit Lifetime's repertoire, but they're keen to point out they are not a covers band, so they play other tunes associated with the trio's individual members. Listen out, for example, for a track from Miles Davis's In a Silent Way album. But most importantly, Sco & Co bring their own considerable electric jazz pedigree to bear on the music. Don't expect to hear note-for-note recreations of McLaughlin solos. That's not what this band is about. So turn up your radio for an hour and a half of full-on power trio action. Taking the stage of the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London are Jack DeJohnette on drums, Larry Goldings organ, and on guitar, John Scofield, who introduces the first tune.